Welcome to a deep dive on becoming a DSM, a Disciplined Agile Scrum Master.
Ooh, DASM, very nice.
It seems like everyone's talking about it, so we figured, why not dive in? You know us, always up for a deep dive, especially when it comes to Agile.
It's definitely a hot topic in the Agile world right now.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back for a sec, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Agile, what's the deal? In a nutshell.
Okay, so Agile, it's all about embracing change and delivering value quickly. It's kind of like imagine you're trying to navigate through a maze, right?
Okay, I'm picturing a maze. Go on.
Agile is like having a bunch of different paths you can take, and you're constantly adjusting, experimenting, figuring out the best way to reach the center.
Got it. So it's about being adaptable and finding those shortcuts.
Exactly. It's not a straight line. It's about navigating those twists and turns.
And that's where Disciplined Agile comes in.
Yeah, so think of Disciplined Agile, or DA, as like this toolkit, right? It gives you a bunch of different methods and strategies to navigate that Agile maze more effectively.
So instead of just wandering aimlessly, I've got a map and a compass to guide me.
More like a map with a bunch of different routes highlighted, and you get to choose which one works best for you.
I like those options. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's more like choose your own Agile adventure.
Exactly, and that's what they call choosing your way of working, because every team, every project is a little bit different.
Makes sense. So where does DLM, this Disciplined Agile Scrum Master certification, fit into this whole choose your own adventure style?
Well, DLM is like your backstage pass to the Agile Festival. You get the inside scoop on how to apply DA principles in the real world.
So it's not just theory.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely hands-on. And that's a big difference between DSM and, say, a traditional Scrum Master. DSMs aren't limited to just Scrum. They can pull from all sorts of Agile methodologies, like Lean, Kanban. They've got a whole utility belt of tools they can use.
Wow, a true Agile superhero. So for someone like me, for our listeners, what's the benefit of having a DFM on the team? What do they bring to the table?
They bring flexibility and a tailored approach. A DFM can look at your team's specific needs and say, okay, here are a few different ways we can approach this.
It's like having a custom-tailored suit for your team's Agile journey. Okay, so you mentioned this DA toolkit earlier. What's in it? What kind of tools are we talking about here?
Oh, it's got everything but the kitchen sink. Let's start with process blades. Think of those as specialized tools for different areas of your work.
So like if my team is struggling with how we handle finances on a project.
Boom! Process blade to the rescue. It helps you streamline that whole process.
Okay, I'm liking the sound of this. So it's like having options within options.
Exactly, because DA gets that one size doesn't fit all, Now, let's talk life cycles. Some teams, they like working in short bursts.
Like with Scrum.
Yep, exactly. But then you've got other teams who prefer a more continuous flow. Like with Lean, DA supports both.
So many choices. See, this is what I love about DA. It's not afraid to give you options.
And here's the really cool part. It helps you make smarter choices about which options to use. That's where process goals come in.
Process goals, huh? Okay, you can't just drop a term like that and not expect me to geek out a little.
Right.
What are these mystical process goals, and how do they help teams make smarter choices?
All right. So imagine you're playing a video game, right? And each level has its own objectives and challenges.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you.
Process goals are like those little hints or tips that pop up in the game saying, hey, if you want to beat this level, you might want to try this approach.
Like cheat codes for Agile. I love it.
Kind of, yeah. But instead of just one cheat code, you get a whole menu of options to choose from. So let's say your team is struggling with communication because everyone's remote, right?
Happens all the time.
Process goals can point you to different strategies for improving remote collaboration. But it doesn't just stop at giving you options, though.
It doesn't. Okay, what else? Don't leave me hanging.
DA lays out the pros and cons of each option, helping you make informed decisions based on what your team needs.
So it's like having a choose-your-own-adventure book, but with a helpful guide on the side saying, if you choose this path, be prepared to face this. But if you go this way, you might find this.
Exactly. It's all about making those smart choices, And this is where DA's focus on complex adaptive systems comes in.
Okay, complex adaptive systems. Earlier we touched on that, and I'll admit it sounded a little intimidating.
Intimidating? Nah. Think of it like this. Remember when we were talking about navigating a maze earlier?
Yeah, I remember. It was a good one.
Well, complex adaptive systems are kind of like that maze, but it's constantly changing and evolving.
Ooh, a shifting maze. No, that's a challenge.
Right. And your team is like this group of adventurers trying to find their way through it. And the thing is, there's no one right path because the maze is always changing. You got to be adaptable. You got to be able to adjust your plans as you go.
So how does DSM help teams navigate this ever-changing maze of a complex adaptive system?
Well, that's where the DASM's leadership and coaching skills really come in handy. Remember those process goals we were just talking about? A DASM can help the team use those process goals to make smart, context-based decisions.
So instead of freaking out about the maze constantly shifting, we have a DASM there to say, okay, team, take a deep breath. Let's look at our options and figure out the best way to move forward.
Exactly. A DASM helps the team embrace that change, to be comfortable with that uncertainty, and find their own way of working within that complex system. It's about fostering a culture of experimentation.
Experimentation. So it's okay to try things and fail.
Absolutely. Failing is just another opportunity to learn and adapt, and that's what continuous improvement is all about.
Right. It's all connected. So it sounds like DA provides a framework, but it's flexible enough for teams to adapt to their unique situation, like having those guardrails on a winding mountain road, right?
Perfect analogy. You've got the freedom to navigate the curves and enjoy the scenery, but with that added safety net so you don't accidentally drive off the cliff.
Exactly. And the DASM is like our trusty co-pilot,
Yeah.
helping us read the map, navigate those twists and turns, and maybe even enjoy the ride a little more.
Exactly. They're there to guide, to coach, to facilitate. They make sure the team understands the principles of DA while also empowering them to find their own way.
It sounds like being a DASM is about being a leader who can wear many hats.
Yeah.
You're a mentor, you're a coach, you're a cheerleader, maybe even a therapist sometimes.
That's the beauty of it. It's a multifaceted role. It's challenging, it's rewarding. And the best part is DA itself is always evolving, so you're always learning and growing right along with it.
Whew, we covered a lot of ground. From navigating mazes to choosing our own agile adventures. I'm starting to see why everyone's so excited about DSM.
It's definitely got people talking.
So as we wrap up our deep dive here, what are the key takeaways? What can our listeners take back to their teams and start using right away?
Well, the biggest thing to remember is that Agile is not about following a rigid set of rules. It's more like, think of it like learning to dance.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
You learn the basic steps, sure, but then you got to find your own rhythm, your own style. That's where the magic happens.
I love that. So don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, even if it means messing up a little along the way.
Exactly. Mistakes are just opportunities to learn and improve. That's what continuous improvement is all about, right? Always be learning, always be adapting.
And it's not just about the processes and the tools, is it? It's about the people, the team, that shared purpose.
100%. You got to have that team culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas, trying new things, That's when you really start to see Agile in action.
It's about building something together, something amazing. And it sounds like Disciplined Agile provides a really solid framework for making that happen.
It definitely does. If you're looking for a way to bring more structure and guidance to your Agile journey, DA is worth a look, for sure.
So for those listening who are ready to take that next step, explore the world of DSM, where should they start? What advice would you give them?
Well, the Disciplined Agile Consortium website is a great place to start. They've got tons of information on DA, the DSM certification, all that good stuff.
And I've always found that connecting with other Agile practitioners is super valuable. Find a local meetup group, join an online forum, like the Agile community is incredibly supportive and always willing to share their experiences.
Oh, for sure. We're all in this together, right? Constantly learning, constantly adapting.
That's the beauty of it. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into Disciplined Agile Scrum Master, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. No matter where you are in your Agile journey, remember that it's a journey. It's not about being perfect. It's about constantly striving to be better, both individually and as a team. So keep experimenting, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, have fun along the way. This is Host Name.
And this is Expert Name.
Signing off for now. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.